Good morning, students. I am Subham Chaudhary, and this is the last session for Class 8 students from topic coal and petroleum. And in this session, I am covering the topic natural gas. Now, what is this natural gas? Have you students heard before the term natural gas? So, this natural gas is a very important fossil fuel because it is easy to transport through pipes. Natural gas is stored under high pressure as compressed natural gas. Natural gas is also used as a starting material for the manufacture of number of chemicals and fertilizers. So this natural gas is also a kind of fossil fuel, and the advantage of this gas is it can easily be transported through pipes, and this natural gas is stored under high pressure as compressed natural gas, CNG in short form. And I think you or most of you has heard about this CNG. Also, this natural gas is used as starting materials for the manufacture of number of chemicals and fertilizers. Now students, this CNG, which we call as compressed natural gas, you have seen that in many vehicles this CNG is used as a fuel instead of petrol. Now why is this the case? Why they are using this CNG? How will they help us? Now students, in the next slide we will see some advantages of CNG over petrol and diesel, because we have seen that CNG is used in many vehicles instead of petrol and diesel. Why they are being used? Is there any advantages? Now let's see what are the advantages. Low maintenance cost. So this CNG is much cheaper than both petrol and diesel. It can easily accessible and it's is much cheaper. So it has a low maintenance cost. No evaporation losses. So basically student, combustion of fuel like petroleum causes formation of unburned carbon particles along with carbon monoxide gas. So these harmful pollutants enter the air and causes respiratory diseases. So when these fuels like petroleum are used, so the formation of petrol, this petroleum actually causes formation of unburned carbon particles along with carbon monoxides. So when you use this petrol causes formation of unburned carbon particles along with carbon monoxide gas, and these particles are very harmful for our respiratory, and this may cause air pollution also. So it is better to use CNG rather than using petrol because it is less harmful for our environment. Now see the next advantage, increase life of lubricating oil. Now how does it increase the life of lubricating oil? Now as we know, as CNG is a cleaner fuel and is doesn't pollute any other products while manufacturing. So because of this, it increases the life of lubricating oil. So this is one more advantage of using CNG over petrol and diesel. Now one more advantage is this CNG is lighter than air. Now as it is lighter than air, it disappears quickly when released. So since it release, it doesn't there doesn't remains any chance of polluting the air. And we have seen in the earlier slide that this petrol formates some unburned carbon which is actually polluting the air. So that is one more reason we can use the CNG over petrol. The other one is doesn't leak into groundwater, because in case if it leaks also, now as it is less polluting, it doesn't pollute much to the groundwater. Now this is also helpful in water pollution also, because it basically doesn't leak, and if leaks also, this CNG is not that much harmful so that it can pollute the water. But this petroleum can pollute water also, and we can see that the many water animals are getting died or dying day by day due to this oil. High ignition temperature. CNG has high ignition temperature. Now the thing comes that how does it help us if it has high ignition temperature? So CNG has an ignition temperature of 540 degree, which is relatively higher than petrol. Now since CNG has high ignition temperature, the possibility of catching fire to hot surfaces is less in CNG. So due to this high ignition temperature, the possibility of catching fire is also less. So there is a less possibility of such accidents of catching fire. But petroleum has a high possibility of catching fire. So sometimes when you enter a petrol pump, you can get a board of no smoking, because this petrol pump and petrols are highly sensible and they can catch fire, and this CNG has a very high ignition temperature and doesn't catch fire easily. So this is one more advantage over petrol and diesel. Also student, this CNG produce less pollutant elements. Yeah, the elements produced by CNG are less polluting. Now let's see what are the elements produced by CNG. Now the products or elements present in CNG are, you can see methane 92.7%, then ethane 3.36%, propane 1.51%, butane 0.88%, pentane 0.32%, nitrogen 0.3%, and carbon 0.59%, hexane 0.27%. So these are the composition of elements present in what? In CNG. And if you see, the most element present in CNG is methane, and you can see the amount of carbon, which is only 0.59%, which is much lesser. And we have seen in petrol there is a very large amount of carbon. Now what happens when CNG burns? The CNG burns cleaner than petroleum based products because of its lower carbon content. So when this CNG burns, this basically doesn't pollutes the air due to less amount of carbon present in it. And this petrol, when it burns, it pollutes the air because of the carbon present in it. So we have seen the advantages of using CNG over petrol. What are they? The first one was low maintenance cost. Then we have seen no evaporation losses. It pollutes our environment very less. The CNG, then petrol. Then we have seen increases the life of lubricating oil because it's a very cleaner fuel and it doesn't pollute any other products while manufacturing. So it doesn't pollute the lubricating oil also while manufacturing. So it increases the life of lubricating oil. But while manufacturing, but while processing petrol, it basically pollutes the lubricating oil. And you have seen that the presence of lubricating oil in petrol, not in this slide, in the previous slide we have seen that this lubricating oil is present only 1% in petroleum. So it is how efficient this petroleum is. Also student, the CNG is lighter than air. So as it is lighter than air, it disappears quickly when it releases. So this is one more advantage of CNG over petrol and diesel. Also student, we have seen that doesn't leak into groundwater, and if it leaks also, then also it is not as much pollutant, so that it is not as much harmful that it can pollute groundwater. Next we have seen high ignition temperature. Due to high ignition temperature, the chance of causing fire is less, so it helps in catching fire also. So these are the few advantages we have seen. Okay, less, one more, produce less pollutant elements. So because this is the element composition of methane, of CNG, and methane is present in larger amount, 92.7, and due to less amount of carbon in CNG, it is less harmful to us. Now students, we all know that natural resources are limited. Those natural resources are limited are known as exhaustible natural resources, like fossil fuels, forest, minerals, etc. Now, coal and petroleum are fossil fuels that require the dead organisms millions of years to get covered into fuels. On the other hand, the known reserves will last for only few hundred of years. Moreover, burning of this fuel is a major cause of air pollution and global warming. So we have seen that there are few natural resources that those are limited, like fossil fuels, forest, minerals, etc. Then again, we have seen that coal and petroleum are the fossil fuels that requires thousands of millions of years to get covered in fuel and to get form. On the other hand, we also get to know that there is only few hundred of years left to these reserves to last. Okay, and moreover, the burning of these fuels is also cause major cause of air pollution and global warming. Now, is there any way how to protect these fuels from air pollution and global warming? So here are the few tips how to save petrol, because we have seen that this is very limited in amount and it's very useful to us also. So these are the few tips that should be followed by us while driving to save petrol. The tips are: the first, drive at constant and moderate speed as far as possible. We can drive any vehicle at a constant or moderate speed. Do not speed or do not move at a high speed. Do not keep on changing your speed. This will take more petrol. Then switch off the engine at traffic light or at a place where you have to wait. So when you are waiting for someone or you are waiting for the traffic signal, you can switch off the engine, because switching on engines takes petrol. So in on this way, by switching off the engines, you can save petrol. Now ensure correct tire pressure. So you need to check your tire pressure also. Then at last, ensure regular maintenance of vehicles. You need to do your regular maintenance of vehicle, because this also takes high amount of petrol if you are not maintaining your regular vehicle. Okay student, this session is up to this. If you have any doubt till now, you can ask. Thank you students.